Welcome back to the 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show. My name is Wayne Kimmel, managing partner of 76 Capital, the sports tech venture capital fund. And on this show, I interview top sports entrepreneurs, athletes, and executives who are shaping and many times changing the overall sports business industry. You can subscribe to our show on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on our 76 Capital website. Today, my guest on our 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show is Jon Kaplowitz, the CEO and co-founder of Clubs Poker. Clubs Poker is a leading online social poker platform offering an extensive range of poker games and features for players of all skill levels. Clubs Poker's mission is to provide an exciting and rewarding poker experience embodied in their tagline, "Play for fun, win for real." Designed to be accessible from almost anywhere in the country, Clubs Poker aims to fill the gap in the current online poker landscape by offering a fresh and engaging alternative. Players can enjoy their favorite poker variants at their convenience with the option to start for free, making an attractive choice for both seasoned professionals and newcomers alike. Well, here we go, Jon. Great to have you on the show. Jon, welcome to our 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show.
Thank you, Wayne. And you said that so perfectly. We should hire you to be our PR guy. So fantastic.
Well, we're just trying to help. We're really excited, at 76 Capital to be investors in Clubs Poker with you and your team, and really just excited about what you're doing to really make poker accessible to everyone across the United States.
Yeah, look, I just kind of starting from the beginning. I love poker, right? And I've been playing poker all my life. Since I was 4 years old, used to play with my grandma in Vegas. And I was a big online poker player in the early aughts. I was on the Poker Stars, the Full Tilts, the Party Pokers. And when those opportunities were sort of removed for me via the Unlawful Internet Gaming Enforcement Act, some of the things that happened in 2011, 2012, there was just a lack of options, right, to play online poker, the classic game of online poker. And what's fascinating about the last few years here in America is that the popularity of poker has grown to probably the highest level it's ever been in terms of the buy-ins and entry fees, prize pools at the World Series of Poker, World Poker Tour, all the influencers and content you see at YouTube. There's thousands of hours of poker content. But at the same time, there's just not a lot of choices to play online poker with people throughout America. So that's really the problem that we were trying to solve with Clubs Poker. We wanted to create a platform that we would love to play if we were just playing on it at any site, and one where you can play and enjoy with your friends across America. And that's what we're sort of aspiring to do today.
Well, Jon, just to maybe break it down a little further for the a lot of people who don't really understand or just don't know of the legalities around online poker and online gaming and how that all works, and why is it that there's this opportunity to actually fill this gap to enable people to play online poker?
Yeah, so Clubs Poker is a free-to-play social poker site, right? Similar to ZyngaPoker.com. Social poker is a huge $4 billion industry that has grown over the last 15, 20 years. So the overwhelming majority of players on Clubs Poker are free players, similar to social poker sites, similar to Zynga, where you can just log in with one click. You authenticate with your Google or Facebook account, and you're playing. We give you free coins. We give you gold coins, which is sort of our retail currency. And if you run out of those free coins, we give you more for free. So you can always enjoy our product and play for free. We are a little bit different than what I will call Social Casino 1.0. I'm sort of calling us Social Casino 2.0. We're different in two distinct ways. One is we have what we call a redemption mechanic, where we want to incentivize you to purchase our gold coins. And that incentive is we give you these sweepstakes tickets, these sweepstakes currency, if you will. We can only give it to you as an incentive. And if you play them through, you can actually redeem them for real prizes, right? Similar to think about all the thousands of companies out there who use sweepstakes mechanics to incentivize people to come into their location and play with their goods and services. So that's what we do. It adds a little bit more value to our consumers, and it's a reason why I believe that called this social casino 2.0 industry has really skyrocketed over the past 2-3 years. The second distinction between us and social casino 1.0 is we do everything that you would expect from a regulated casino in terms of KYC, responsible gaming, anti-money laundering. We take this stuff incredibly seriously, and it doesn't matter if you play Xbox or Nintendo or DraftKings. There are always going to be responsible gaming issues that come with these types of services. So we really wanted to lean into what I learned when I ran a regulated sportsbook and casino and apply that to this social casino. So that's kind of who we are. We are available in 44 states under the social casino, I'll call it industry moniker, brand. And by being in these states, we can have national liquidity in terms of poker and have people enjoy playing poker with people across America.
So what are some of the games that you can play on Clubs Poker?
Are you a poker player, Wayne? Because if you are, you'll know that not only do we have the classics, right? No Limit, Omaha, but we also have games that like my dad loves, who's like 81 years old. He still plays with his poker buddies. Games like Deuce 7 Triple Draw, Raz, Badoogie, Baducci, short deck poker. We have 28 different variants of games. We also have a whole bunch of really cool tournaments that you can play as well. So when we built Clubs Poker, really our strategy was, let's create something that both casual players love. They can come and play with us for a little bit of time and just have a great time, socialize with their friends, but also be a little bit different than what the competition is out there by offering these unique game variants, the ones that, again, dad plays all the time. I played with my dad, but I've lost a lot of money. And I think that kind of differentiates us with some of the more established poker platforms that are out today in America.
Well, I think it would be really interesting for you to share the some of the founder journey, right? So you and Sean and Jeff, came together to create this business, and maybe talk a little bit about that, because this is in the gaming industry, which we love to talk about, is kind of, we're always thinking about opportunities to build the next thing,
Yeah.
really thinking about things from an entrepreneurial perspective. How do you innovate? And as you said, calling yourself as a social casino 2.0.
Yeah.
So like, what were some of the things that went into you starting this company and how you've built it today?
Well, my first job in this industry was at World Poker Tour back in 2004 to 2008. And I told myself at that point, whatever job I have, I'm going to love the product or the content that's part of that company, right? So, from there, I moved on to Comcast, NBC Universal. I love movies. I love TV. I love technology. And took a really unique path to ultimately get to become the CEO of Penn Interactive for Penn National Gaming, which is one of the larger regional casino companies here in America. And we were there during the early innings of when PASPA was overturned, and really saw the regulated sports betting and casino industry being built from the ground up. We built the Barstool Sportsbook and Casino. It was a incredible ride, obviously filled with ups and downs. It is incredibly difficult to build a regulated sportsbook and casino platform here in America, right? Every state is different and unique, has different rules and regulations, and just learned a lot about how to not only operate a business in that world, but also some of the things that maybe I wish I could do if I wasn't, working for a larger company in the regulated space. So I took a couple of years off And I basically told myself, like, now's my shot to do something entrepreneurial. So took everything I learned from the regulated space, took all my passion and love for poker. You mentioned my co-founders who are leaders in the industry, both regulated, media, technology, and we sort of put our collective thoughts and skill sets together um, to build Clubs Poker. And when I was at Penn and even before, we always knew that innovation always comes from maybe outside some of these larger companies, from startups who are probably a little bit more free and willing to take a few more chances. And I kind of felt that was always me, and I wanted to do that. And you can see in this industry, this kind of sweepstakes redemption mechanic, right? Applying a very simple, tried and true method of generating consumer interest. At McDonald's, at a football game, whatever it is, by applying it to social casino, it created a whole new wave of innovation on social casino. It's almost akin to like Uber and taxis, right? I mean, Uber didn't reinvent taxis. They created a unique method and kind of modality of how to make it better for consumers and more useful and just a better value proposition, if you will. So I think there's been a lot of innovation in the space that have been led by a lot of entrepreneurial companies. And we hope to be one of those companies that continues to drive growth in this industry and, obviously interest from consumers to try our product.
So thinking about, actually going back into those early days when you guys were strategizing and saying, like, what are we going to go do? Like, what is this entrepreneurial thing that we want to go? How did it land on poker? How did it land on the technology platform that you have now? How did you, kind of go about that part of the journey?
Yeah. Well, on the poker side, obviously it helped that, collectively our team knows poker very well. I think it's a skill set that's just a little bit more, I'll call it differentiated and unique than, straight casinos, right? You have to have played for a little bit to know how to build a poker platform. Also, we knew this industry, the social casino 2.0 industry, was growing very quickly. And the question is, what is our entry point into this industry? There's a lot of social casinos, if you will, casino only companies, but there are very few poker companies. And what I said at the beginning here is there's such a huge interest of poker from a consumer perspective, but a dearth of options to play. So not only were we thinking that we were going to fill a consumer need, but also if we were successful in building a peer-to-peer poker platform, that drives network effects. Network effects meaning that, hey, people know that they can rely on a game to be there at 8 p.m. at night. So they're going to come back, right? And that's hard in poker because you have to create liquidity. People have to be there when you go to that site. If nobody's there, if it's an empty poker room, everybody knows going to the casino, they're going to walk right out. And they don't want to wait for an hour to get a seat. So that's always going to be a challenge. But if you could solve those challenges, there is a virtuous kind of network effect that ensues where you're going to get people coming back every day because they're going to know that there's a repeatable and dependable calendar of poker opportunities. And that drives retention. It also drives lifetime value of a customer. So when you put both our love of poker, the differentiated product approach, and the sort of the unit economics and lifetime value story around poker, all that kind of pointed to poker as our entry point into this space.
So you mentioned poker as being an entry point into this space. What else is what's next for Clubs Poker?
I think that we have a lot of work to do, obviously, on our flagship product, Clubs Poker, right? I think that at the end of the day, you got to win consumers' hearts and minds. There's a lot of great competitors out there. We still have a lot of work to do in terms of making our product the best it can be. We are every day trying to get better at customer service and making a bad customer experience a great customer experience, right? my experience, whether I'm at a hotel or playing on a sports book, whatever you want to call it, things happen where I have a bad experience. It only takes a little bit from that operator or that restaurant or that hotel to win me for life if they kind of maybe in that moment go above and beyond. And we're trying to sort of emulate that philosophy here at Clubs Poker. It takes time. It takes time to sort of engender trust from from consumers out there. But we're trying to do that right now. So I think the next 6 months for us is to continue to grow Clubs Poker, continue to be one of the leading national platforms of online poker, continue to try to win the trust of players here in America. And, time will tell what comes after that. Obviously, there are a lot of adjacencies on the poker side. We have some experience in running some of those adjacencies, but at this point, it's a complete focus on kind of building our poker platform and really solving the problems that any new company would experience in their first few months of operation.
Well, it's been really fun watching the growth of the business, seeing some of the early marketing ideas and campaigns and influencers that you're using. Maybe share a little bit of your thoughts around, how you've gone about marketing the business to date, what potentially we have to look forward to in the future, and maybe talk about some of these really fun influencers that you've been able to get so far.
Well, I have firsthand experience in seeing the power of influencers with the Barstool Sportsbook. When we launched, and when I was there, the power of Dave and Big Cat and the rest of the Barstool talent was incredible, right? Just the amount of users and ultimately market share that we were able to drive based on these influencers while not spending a whole bunch of money in paid media was incredible lesson to see. And with Clubs Poker, we wanted to sort of harness all the good things that we learned from that relationship, right? And today, from an influencer perspective, there's so many amazing influencers, talent and content producers on YouTube who, are generating an audience for themselves. Like this is, I think I was listening to the All In pod, and it's now sort of it's moved to the influencer economy, right? That's kind of where the eyeballs are going on YouTube. YouTube represents kind of the plurality of watching TV, if you will, now. And so we wanted to really tap into that and tap into these unique creators. And we do really cool things with them. So, because there are only a few of our types of companies, we think that we offer a really cool partnership opportunity for some of these influencers who can have digital meetup games on our platform and invite their community to play alongside. We give away free rolls every day. We have a relationship with Hustler Casino Live, which is the most popular poker live stream on YouTube. And we give every night 100, both a gold coins and a sweeps coins, which is our sweepstakes currency, free roll. And all these things have allowed us to, I think, organically grow over the course of the first 2.5 months that we've been in operation, while limiting our paid media market spend up to this point. It has also allowed us to capture an audience that has a very high intent to play, right? So when you have people who play poker and want to find a really good poker platform, they're more likely to convert, to purchase our gold coins, and to kind of stay with us and be hopefully more retentive and loyal customers. So lots of benefits of going the influencer route. And, we're going to continue to look for really talented folks. I'm blown away with some of the content that these people put together. I only wish I had these tools when I was a kid, but alas, we didn't. But it's been a real success story so far for us.
Well, it certainly seems like a lot of fun, and some of the different posts that I see, I enjoy. I enjoy it a lot. Thinking about the overall business at Clubs Poker and your team, and you talked about your co-founders a little bit about as well, but maybe just for the number of the entrepreneurs that are out there that are watching this, and or listening, to our 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show, or some of the things that you've been able to do to bring together a team to be able to build what you've done so far?
So I think it helps that, myself and my co-founders have been in the industry for so long. And, when you go to some of these conferences, it's a pretty small industry, right? I mean, everybody knows everybody. And that's really helped us build a world-class team at Clubs Poker. We have, myself and my co-founders. One of my co-founders built DraftKings Sportsbook. Another one of my co-founders was my number 2 at Penn Interactive. My third co-founder was the owner and CTO of a very successful social casino company that was acquired. And then we found folks who believed in our mission, believed in our value proposition, who have considerable experience in both, I'll call it regulated gaming, as well as social casino and social casino 2.0 gaming. Our head of operations, basically was the head of operations for one of the largest social casino 2.0 companies in the world. Our head of risk and payments was the head of Entain internationally. So, we built it just for the entrepreneurs out there. Obviously, it helps when you're in the industry for quite a while. But look, we have invested heavily in creating a top tier talent. It's people are going to make or break your success. That's it. You can have an amazing product. If you have a bad team, you're going to lose. You can have an okay product. If you have an incredible team, you're probably going to win. So we really invested in our talent, and we will continue to invest going forward.
So you got a great team, and congratulations on being able to attract and bring together this group. And how do you keep the group together from a cultural perspective? Like, what are some of the things that you do that helps with that?
So I've always been a guy, and we did this at Penn Interactive. I've always been very transparent. We've always, me and my founders have always believed in transparency. Is it pretty much no hierarchy, or we hate unnecessary politics. We hate when things get in the way of making good decisions, and sometimes as companies get really big, you're going to run into some of those issues. So we try to find the best people who can survive and persist and thrive in a very fast-paced, dynamic environment, which is a startup. We try to get rid of any and all bureaucracy so that the best ideas kind of rise to the top, if you will. And we try to find people who are just good people, right? Smart people. You can be tenacious, but you just can't be an asshole. Like, nobody wants to deal with assholes, right? It's life's too short. And when you wake up in the morning, you want to at least not be worried about who you have to work with on a day-to-day basis. So, that's how I've always built teams. It's been very successful. Good people, aggressive, smart, not afraid to take chances, not afraid to speak their minds, eliminate bureaucracy and hierarchy where you can, and just move fast. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, but if you do, obviously try to figure out how to not make it again.
That's really great. That's amazing to hear that. And I wonder also, just from the fact of the matter is that people in all different time zones across the world play your game at different times. How do you deal with that, right? I mean, because a lot of people are come home from work and they'll play, right, or they'll play at night, or they'll play on weekends, and but then you'll have casual people playing all day, and because they may not be working that day, or they just have an opportunity. Like, how do you deal with the kind of the when things are at the highest of levels, and or even times when you're just sort of, how do you kind of smooth that all out?
Yeah. So, well, the good thing is Clubs Poker we're only available in the US. So we're kind of dealing with 4 time zones, if you will.
Right.
But like sports betting, like any other gaming company, we have our peak times and our non-peak times. And our peak times are when people come home from work, and on the weekends, right? So that's probably when you go onto our platform, when you're going to see the most amount of people, both at our table game, our ring games, as well as in our tournaments. And most of our big tournaments are scheduled around those peak times. Obviously, from an operations perspective, it makes it a little bit more challenging, covering all those hours, 24 hours a day. And, that's just a matter of being very thoughtful and efficient of, how you build and deploy your operations team from a customer service perspective. We want to make sure that we are quickly responding to people who inquire something to us. If people are redeeming some of their sweeps coins, we want to make sure we get those redemptions very, very quick. The worst thing, I've played all these sites. The worst things for a consumer is when they don't get their money back quick, right? I mean, that's even more sometimes unforgivable than the platform just going out and having a blackout, if you will. So all that stuff is challenging, and it's challenging to get right, especially as you are scaling and growing. I would say to all the fellow entrepreneurs or people who want to become an entrepreneur, it's definitely not for the faint of heart. Some days I feel like I'm the biggest genius in the world, and the next day I feel like I'm an idiot, right? It's if you can't deal with the emotional swings, it's going to be super challenging because you're going to run into a lot of pitfalls that you just need to solve. So for me, I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm really glad that every day we're sort of living what we love and kind of making our decisions, and we rise and fall based on us, right? If we fail, I'm not afraid of it because it's on us.
That's really great. It's great to hear. I mean, look, you've taken the journey of working in a very large technology, forward company like Comcast, working at Penn, running the online division and working with Barstool and the Score and bringing all that together, and then now doing your own entrepreneurial startup, which is amazing. Has there been somebody in your career or in life that's been an important mentor to you that's helped sort of guide you through your career?
Yeah, I'd say two. It's a great question. The first is my old supervisor, Brian Bowles. Brian Bowles, I haven't spoken to him in a while, but when I worked at Sony Pictures Entertainment, which is again one of my dream jobs, I was on the lot in Culver City, California, 23-year-old kid. Brian just kind of taught me the value of like detail, hard work, understanding the economics and the finance of things. He was a financial guy, and everything is finance. And what I tell folks who ask me for advice, I always tell them, well, just know the business model, know the unit economics, understand how you get to profitability. That's going to be key. If you don't know that, then you're kind of 10 steps behind. And then the other mentor, I'd say, is Steve Lipscomb. Steve was the founder of World Poker Tour, and I was lucky enough to be part of that company in the early years. It was a phenomenon when it launched. It was on the Travel Channel, if you can imagine, back in like 2003, but it was like one of the highest rated shows on TV. Showing the whole cards was like the innovation, obviously, but it was fantastic. And my love of poker, to be able to kind of like travel around with Steve, and we'd go into a poker room and people were like, oh, I feel like I was like hanging out with a celebrity, but just he gave me the opportunity to essentially run business development for World Poker Tour. I was the first head of BD there, and I didn't know what I was doing, to be honest with you. Like it was new to me, and I made a lot of bad decisions and failed a lot, but he gave me that kind of space to kind of figure things out, and I'll never forget it. And it was a big part of why I think I was able to take those learnings and parlay that into future successes in my jobs after that. So those are the two. I'd say if you're lucky enough to find two people who are mentors and great mentors, then you're definitely ahead of the game.
Well, as we wrap up here on our 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show, it's been amazing having Jon Kaplowitz, the CEO of Clubs Poker, on our show. And Jon, you've given so many incredible pieces of advice, and also just being able to really talk about this amazing entrepreneurial journey that you're on with your co-founders at Clubs Poker. It's amazing. But I have to finish up and ask you, was there ever, do you have a certain memory of a poker game or a hand that you had that was just like the thing that was like, oh my God, this was amazing? And you sort of think about that.
Well, you know what they say, that you can never remember your big wins, but your big losses will always be seared into your mind. But I'll talk about it. There's a couple of big wins when I was 21 years old, when the clock struck 12 a.m. and I then turned 21. I was at the Mirage Poker Room in Las Vegas with my brother, and it was 11:59. The poker room guy did not let me in. He let me in at 12. He was doing his job very well. And I sat down and I played for the next 12 hours. And I was playing 1-5 for all you poker lovers out there. This was like 1999. So there was no Hold'em yet. Hold'em only became popular after World Series of Poker. Rounders came out a little bit. So I was playing 1-5 stud. And in those 12 hours, I hit a royal flush and a straight flush. And I was like, holy, this is easy. This is easy. Like, 25 years later, I have not hit one since. So, call it a great start to my poker career. It's all been downhill from then, but it was an incredible experience.
That's such a great story. I love that. Especially, just the other day, my son turned 21. I hope he's having the same luck as you.
Exactly.
Well, Jon, again, thank you so much for joining us on our 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show. Check out Clubs Poker, clubspoker.com. Go check it out. And it's a really great platform, really fun. And it's something that, go out there and play for fun and win for real. Did I get that right, Jon?
You did. Great job, man.
All right. Thank you so much for being on our show.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.